Jukes, we are going to be heading into the game with the dual gaming chipsets and 144Hz AMOLED screens. The GT20 Pro will equip the teams with up to 120 FPS, which is also the first batch of sorted devices, offering esports level performance and visually stunning experiences in the 2024 PMWC.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time! Let's get this game started! Match number 1 of the PUBG Mobile World Cup live here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Players have traveled all around the world for this moment. And we can see a beautiful playing path right down the middle here. Key points I'm looking at is I always look at to see which teams are landing on that island right there at the top left of the map. And it looks like Brute Force is going to be one of those, D plus Kia. If the zone goes there, that team has a high chance of winning the match and putting some serious points on the board. So it is a gamble, because if it does go to mainland, it's quite difficult to make it in there.
Yeah, a couple of options you have available to you. The thing I'm looking right now in that Northwest Island, the feature is D plus Kia have that outpost that's almost a little bit surrounded by Brute Force players, right? You can see Osal there, very close to Freezer. By the way, one of the best rookies we've seen all year in these tournaments. Incredible performance coming out from this guy. Make sure you keep your eyes on him. But in this situation,
what can I say?
It's going to be even more important, right? Jukes has absolutely put the nail, well, no, hit the nail on the head. There we go.
That's right.
And he is going to be right with that Northwest Island circle prediction. Looking at hot drops anywhere else on the map, we aren't really going to be seeing too much argy-bargy, as I like to say, in these early phases. There's a little bit more distance established between these players. Freezer retreating, doesn't want that fight either.
Well, teams are going to have to get moving pretty quickly here, and one team in particular is going to be Alpha 7. They're all the way on the bottom right of the map near docks, so they're going to have to push to pretty much every single squad to try to get into this zone. But you know what? At the end of the day, teams have prepared for this. Coaches, they know what the chances are if the zone does go here. They're going to have that strategy, and at the end of the day, it might not be bad for Alpha 7 because they love that edge play style. And if you're going to play aggressive, like I said, it works out. Day number 1, game 1, take advantage of some of those players that are a little bit, you know, extra nervous. But at the same time, this is the World Cup, baby, right? There's no stragglers here. There's no feeder teams. Every single one of these squads is the best of the best in the planet.
Absolutely. That's exactly what they are bringing to this one. I'll be interested to see if anyone's going to go for a botation around the edge of these maps. I'm going to be curious to see if anyone's going to be looking for holds on those botations as well. I'm looking specifically at Tianbao and Kao. They have a pretty interesting place to hold a choke right on the edge. They can sort of sweep through. And DRX as well on that south coast. So if any botations go through, I'd be interested to see if they are going to be the ones to hold it. Right now, we're on board with DX Xavier, unchallenged in Paradise Resort, which sometimes can be a little bit toasty.
Yeah, definitely can be. I mean, this is a place, a high loot area. You're going to be able to get pretty much every weapon, ammo that you want, and you're going to be set for the rest of the game. So DX Xavier are in a good spot. There's not really anybody holding them up to be able to make it into this next zone. So they're wanting to loot very, very quickly here and get moving. You can see that Paradise Resort. And I'll tell you what, fortunate, right, for the rest of the teams here that the zone isn't here, because this would have been chaos off the rip.
Absolutely. Those hills around Paradise Resort as well, it becomes just a boiling pot. Really, really tough stuff. But Inco holding right now just to the northwest of Ruins on that bridge to the northwestern islands. They've got control of this area. The question is, are they going to allow some teams out from the east side, moving over from that trifecta position to get ahead of them, right? That has always been the problem with this position, holding out that bridge, is you sometimes allow players from the east already on that northwest island to actually get in ahead of you. So having an outpost on the other side can be interesting, can be a way to play it, but then you reduce the power that you have as a backstop.
That's
so
right.
Inco in a little bit of a linchpin position, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they could definitely hold out so many different teams, but if the zone goes even further north, they're going to have a pretty difficult time. So I think if you are Inco Gaming, you kind of want to focus on eliminations right now. Absorb as many as you possibly can, just in case that zone does go far north, and that way you'll be able to put supports on the board. And hey, we got the boat team, baby!
It is Tianbao going for it, though. They've left from Kao. I was looking at them potentially being the ones to hold out rotation from teams like Boom, from Alliance as well, but they are going to opt to go for it themselves. Notably, they have split 2 and 2 on this, and it is generally quite wise to go that way. On a boat, your boat goes up with all 4 of you in, you're a goner.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know what? It's always an interesting position right there near Hot 10, and you can see CAG Osaka is holding that point right now. A lot of teams in a zone like this, what they'll do is they'll do that boat take, they'll swim right toward those docks and hide it, but it looks like we're finally getting things kicked off here, and it's Inco 7 getting a nice knock, and as a matter of fact, that's 2, so Inco Gaming starting this game off strong.
Finding those first eliminations. First blood is drawn. Nenebede puts 2 up for Inco Gaming. In Brazil, this is a team that is feared when you bring out their name, and it seems like they're going to start off that again. That hold on that bridge on the northwest side of that South Island, going to start off effectively. DRX not able to move through. Close by though, for Miracle Vibes. They're playing out to the east side of this Inco position. They're going to be playing to try and get across, try and get ahead of Inco Gaming, that vulnerability in the Inco Gaming position. Yeah,
Inco Gaming, like we just said a little bit earlier, they got to focus on getting those eliminations, and they did exactly just that. But timing of these fights going to be so imperative right now, because if they take a fight just a little bit too early, their chance of getting third-partied are very high. So right now, it looks like they're just happy to just stay in their position and just gatekeep this bridge with all they got. They got to watch out, because we are seeing some swimmers come out from DRX right alongside them.
It looks like Inco are going to start to make their way across the bridge. You could see Nenebede leading that charge over the bridge. Will be their outpost, their foothold. Hopefully, they'll be able to regroup and coalesce onto that north side. A lot more focus over towards the Hot 10 edge of things as well, as teams start to coagulate over in that direction as well.
Yeah, it looks like Inco Gaming are going to start crossing that bridge and start taking a little bit more real estate here on this island, which is definitely a smart thing. They don't want to get stuck on the other side of that bridge for sure. And at the end of the day, when it comes to teams that have things to prove, Inco Gaming's definitely one of them. 3rd place in PMSL Americas. Team Liquid, yeah. Alpha 7, definitely up on them. But look at this, Tianba getting a nice double knock onto Boom Esports. So, I mean, we're starting to see these finishes come out early here.
Classic Yummy, though. Instant response coming through for Boom Esports, as they are starting to lay low one another right now. No knocks getting flushed, but a little bit more danger for Boom. They're a little bit closer to the action, closer to the enemy as well. It was a long-range suppression, and Boom have already lost 1 player on the back of it as well. So they are going to be playing on it too. They're going to have to get a move on as well on that northeast side, close to the edge of this circle.
You're going to have to leave Resi. You have no choice. The next zone goes hard onto this island. So yeah, Boom Esports are going to have to move. Tianba's going to have to move as well. So I don't expect Long to stay in this position for very much longer. That's for sure. So just look, try to get that confirmation, and just try to get a good position to this next circle.
Inco making their way across. They've fully committed now to that North Island. Good stuff. Alpha 7 have made their way in, obviously a little bit later at the back of the queue from the southeast side of the map. F4MV yet to cross the river, but it looks like they're gearing up to do so. Boom trying to extricate themselves from the scrap on the northeast side.
Yes, they are on the move. You can see Carrillo and the rest of Alpha 7 just kind of straggle looting here on this ruin side. It's a very difficult rotation for them. They are the farthest traveling team so far, and you can see them keeping an eye on Besiktas. Let's see if he's able to get that knock. Does he see Lewis laying down there? He does, and he gets that initial knock. And that's going to be the one to open things up for Alpha 7 as they're on the move.
Besiktas losing a player there. Alpha 7, though, they are playing right on the edge, right? It's something that you said, you know, maybe they like to do that sort of stuff, but crossing that river is notorious for taking its toll on a team that leaves it a little bit too late. The fortunate side of this is the amount of teams on the north side of this island.
Yeah, I mean, this was really fortunate for Alpha 7. Since they played the edge so long in so many different tournaments, they're used to it, right? They're more trained than the rest of these squads. The problem, though, is, like we talked about a little earlier, this is the World Cup, right? Even teams on the edge are going to be fierce in this tournament. So it's going to be much more difficult to push in from the edge as opposed to tournaments prior to this one. So let's see how Alpha 7 does work this one out. They're very fortunate that this bridge is now open, so they can start moving their way in. But we'll see how they decide to play this one out. We are starting to see some battles up on the top near Hot 10, and I believe that was from that boat tape we saw earlier from Tianba.
They have started to try and make their way through. I think Power and CAG Osaka are taking a little bit of a scrap with one another, and CAG Osaka have fully lost a player. Power have taken a knock in the meantime. This is over towards Hudson, so CAG Osaka do have to worry about that botte, right? That's what's splitting their attention, and Power can exploit that.
Absolutely, they definitely can. So, you know, Power Esports, the only difficult about Hot 10, the difficult part about it is you think that you could take the entire town. You can't. You have to commit to one side of it. If they split up too much and the zone goes in this direction, they're going to have a difficult time because we're going to see teams just full sending onto that position. But Alliance getting caught from Boom Esports. Pondbit getting a nice couple eliminations, and that's going to definitely help his squad out considering that they've already lost 2.
Yeah, that is going to be a nice little addition to it, a little cherry on what was a pretty disappointing cake previously. Unfortunately for Alliance, it will be them biting the bullet on that one, and that is not tasty at all.
Nope.
Alliance still looking across from that northeast side, and Alpha 7 as well, being held up a bit by the remnants of Besiktas. They were able to take down only the one player, actually, so they're going to have to still get across. IWNRX making the swim a little bit further west. Inco have spread their influence up that west coast, and they're still making life pretty difficult for DRX.
Well, let's see how difficult this game's going to get here with this next zone. It's about to pop, and it does go slightly north here, so this is the game right now for Brute Force. This is the zone that you absolutely hope for. So they have a big advantage here. They got it. They have to capitalize on it, though.
Interesting feature of this current circle, that high ground to low ground transition, right from the top of the mountain to the bottom. At the moment, you've got D+ Kia holding that high ground. They should be fairly firm with their grasp on it right now, but it's going to get a little bit weaker. It's going to get a little bit more important to have those routes open to leave it, and those paths are going to start to be shut down as teams move into them.
I talked about that championship formula right here. When you get that zone, you got to take full advantage of it. And when it comes to Sandhawk, this is that gamble, right? If the zone goes here and you land here, you have to finish strong. So my eyes definitely, like I mentioned, on Brute Force, D+ Kia, D Xavier as well in a pretty good spot. But we're starting to see teams now having to push each other. And CAG Osaka trying to take advantage of Power. Oh, but Power does have some really good sight lines onto NATO. Trying to get that first aid off. Beautiful nade, though. Does take down Satan.
Ghana able to do a lot of work, but the cross is covered. Easy has his back. Behind the wall, not going to be suppressed in time. CAG Osaka going to have to do a little bit more work on this one. Easy with AUG at range. It looked like Kagasaka's ammo reserves were running a little bit dry. Not too sure on the rest of the players, but going to have to try and force their way on through. In the meantime, over in Camp Alpha, 4MB did manage to get across. They did manage to keep all 4 of their players alive, and now Reject are suffering because of it.
Yes, they are. As a matter of fact, I'm looking right now. Team Reject already losing 2 of their players. Regi OCO going to be holding down Camp Alpha for as long as he possibly can. I don't expect him to move from this building until the absolute last second. But 4MB, they're on the move. As we take a look at this replay here, Pondbit, oh, wow! Knocking 2 out of that vehicle, so that's how he got it done.
That's just what you got to do, you know. That is the value that they're going to see. Unfortunately, in the meantime, Pondbit has just gone down over on that east side, close to Alliance, close to Tiamba. Nobody's really been able to leave that one effectively. This is the danger of leaving it too late. We'll check back in with them when they almost inevitably go down.
Next crate does drop on down. Who's going to get some of that loot? They definitely need it because this is a tough circle. I mentioned those teams that land here have that full advantage. The rest of the squad's going to have to make something happen. You can see Team Reject suffering some casualties just to even get into this position. Meanwhile, the first team out so far is going to be DRX. So they got taken out quite early.
They got a lot of their players taken away by Inco early on that South Bridge camp, remember, and they tried to swim around the coastline. Hasn't gone well for them. On the south side, IWNRX and Moneymakers are clashing as well. IWNRX coming out better on this engagement. Moneymakers now losing a player, but they're both going to have to move up north, and this, again, keeps that high ground, low ground dichotomy in play. And at the moment, D+ Kia just not getting challenged.
Not getting challenged at all, and rightfully so. It's a very difficult position to challenge onto them. But meanwhile, Moneymakers, they have some good high ground, but they're going to have to leave it. They got to start moving up north as fast as they can. Oh, nice Molotov all the way from downtown.
What a big arm.
And I do believe he does catch the edge of him. Ooh. Gets that nice confirmation. But meanwhile, they do have IW next Ruya right behind him.
Absolutely, yeah. This is the Moneymakers IW next Ruya fight that's been going on for a little bit longer than perhaps either of these two teams would like, but Moneymakers pretty happy to extract 2 points if they can find Swain, that is, and very likely that they do. The arm, it was big on the first one, not quite as large on that second one, and you can see he's just going to get that healing done. Maybe he doesn't have a first aid, otherwise you'd think he would have popped it by now. Next circle going to be coming on in, and it will start to close. It's going to burn Swain away. Inko trying to move across, but who's this waiting in the wings to take out the points? It's Alpha 7. They've managed to transition. They've still got all 4 players alive, although they have taken knock. That is going to get rezzed onto Carrillo.
The Brazilian brothers going at it right now, and you can see Vitali is trying to be able to find some angles onto Alpha 7. He does catch him off Yoso right in the open, hits the lay down very quickly. Another great knock. Alpha 7, oh, just that return fire is just too good. 7 has a beautiful angle though here onto A7. Oh, Alpha 7 gonna have a hard time getting into this circle.
First aid is going to get popped in the meantime. IWNRX did go down on that south scrap. Moneymakers win out the fight, but Inko continued to lay down the hurt. I say Inko, just 7. McGrellin, the question mark on the roster of Alpha 7. Is he going to be able to stand up for them? He indeed will, and he will enter into the scoreboard for his roster. The newer addition to the team. It's going to work out.
Going to work out well, but you know, McGrellin did lose his buggy on that way, and he's the last player up for Alpha 7. They did get 4 eliminations, so that's going to help out considering that this was a very tough rotation. They're putting up points on the board, which is exactly what they're hoping to do. But at the end of the day, right, D plus Kia, brute force, they got to start soaking up these points big time because you do not get this opportunity very often.
No, absolutely not. We're looking right now, I'm looking right now at the circle. It's DX Xavier, it's D plus Kia, right? These are the 2 teams that I'm really looking at as stronghold teams. Brute Force certainly do have a chance, I think, on the western side. I think Kagasakura Power, they're going to strip one another bare of any resource as they try and leave from that northern side. I think Camp Alpha is pretty much a death sentence, and with a circle like this, brilliant molly coming on through pre-pod, you know what? That's fair. McGrellin goes down. He's done his bit. D plus Kia. This is their time.
Oh, yes. Yeah, D plus Kia are now in the best spot in this circle. How many eliminations are they going to get? Well, Team Reject are now getting pushed. For Miracle has no choice. They got to start moving right now, and they do get the finish. So as we start to look at this little split here, they're going to have to run out into the wide open. So, yeah, getting as many eliminations as you can right here, right now is definitely imperative.
Brute Force with that high ground oversight onto Paragin from DX Xavier. Potential to find a little bit of an opening here. CAG Osaka rotating on the northern side. They're looking for something over towards Brute Force, try and sweep down, but they don't have the manpower to do it really as effectively as maybe they'd like. They're only 2 players. D plus Kia, look at this high ground. K has all about so much control over 4MV.
D plus Kia are set up so good. The only difficult part about this is sometimes you don't want to give up that high ground. You just stay in that spot for a little bit too long. So once this next zone shifts, I want to see D plus Kia get together and just try to get this chicken dinner. D Xavier have been chilling right below this mountainside though, and they're holding those edges. Looking to soak up some of these points, but here comes Brute Force on the push.
Freezer nearly goes down, but managed to find safety, and there's the shot from Neos through the window. Looking for a second as well. They close it down. Ain't no thing, no sweat for Brute Force. Champions back in EMEA. They'll continue their run here. 4MV making the cross now as Rivas looking to get through. Does get set on fire there, but with the DBS, it's not going to slow his roll. Find the first, the second soon to follow. But Doc goes down. In the meantime, the flush as well from Kakali. Projectors falls, but they take one down from 4MV.
Kakali just got to get elimination if you can do it. And 4MV with 3 players up.
10 elims.
Yeah, 10 eliminations. This squad has been pushing like crazy. This is going to be a difficult one to move away from, though. They're in a really, really tough spot. We'll see how they do, though. They definitely got the gun skill to make it happen.
Absolutely, but D plus Kia again on the front of our minds. 2 eliminations only. They need to start picking up these eliminations.
That's right, yeah. When you get a zone like this and you're in that position, you want double-digit elimination chicken dinner. Let's see how they do it. Meanwhile, Brute Force pushing up with that pressure from D plus Kia is making things difficult.
There we go. 4MV do go down. 10 elims, 10 points on the match. Plenty more of that. I think they got a couple of placements there as well, finishing up in 5th place on the match. they'll get some placements to add that. But still, 13 points on a game, a great first match for one of the first place hopefuls.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what you're hoping for, especially if you're a team that doesn't land in this island here and you get a circle like this. So excellent effort for them. 4 teams still remaining, and you can see D plus Kia have all the sight lines in the world, but Power are right there on the ridge line, center circle. So
yeah.
D plus Kia is going to have to start putting in some work here.
With CAG Osaka rotating out to the west to try and take on Brute Force, that's allowed Power to actually make this maneuver down south unimpeded, because D plus Kia not really looking out to this north side. They've allowed this to come through, and Power got to be very happy about it. They are only 3 players, but they are all in the center circle low ground position.
Yeah, let's see what D plus Kia can do. Like I said, sometimes that high ground is just so juicy, you don't want to give it up, but there we go.
There it is. That's
what you want to start doing, finding some of these straggler players and soaking up some of these eliminations right now. First game of the tournament. Very, very solid zone for these teams here. You can see Xavier, they have been putting in work. 8 eliminations so far. And yeah, Brute Force is just completely stuck out in the open.
Frieza trying to make that cross. Prepod drawing some fire, but it's not going to help out. Not enough, unfortunately. Frieza goes down on the off angle. The blue zone's pushing in. He's going to fall. Xavier pick up a point. 9 eliminations now on the cards for them. And again, D plus Kia just a little bit slow. Power slower still. 2 eliminations only, but they get a miraculous shift.
Oh, you can see Prepod right there just screaming, Lamborghini, mercy, mercy, please, please help. Just give me a couple seconds so I can move up here. But no, the nades are starting to come out. Will that do it? Oh, it hurts.
Ooh.
It hurt. Yeah, Prepod, it's only a matter of time. Maybe we see him just stay in the blue zone and try to deny some points here. But nope, never mind. He is gone. Power's going to take that one.
Al-Haji, brutal force on the Power team. It looks like they're doing. They're going great guns for their first match here in their home ground. Another team from Saudi Arabia going to be happy with their opening performance so far. 3 eliminations, hoping to rack up a couple more on the cards right now. There's 7 still remaining. They can pick them all up.
Yeah, let's see how this all ends up. It's all about timing right here. So if Xavier and Power go at it, D plus Kia can come down and third party this. But it looks like D plus Kia are already on the move to Power. So let's see if Xavier is going to get on the move. But K trying to hold it down. Doesn't do it. Oxel does get a beautiful knock here. The DBSs are out. And that's the finish.
Goes straight on through, and D plus Kia descend. 2 knocks is the price they pay. Xavier now with a chance to try and move in.
Chip.
But there is the anchor from the high ground. D plus Kia, they have nothing to worry about. They have control. Xavier slowed down. 2 players now as the reses are starting to come on through. The healing coming in as well. And there is just nowhere to move. The nades, they are being cooked. Look at that. 3 on the left-hand side of your screen. Arc 1, 2, 3. Bang, bang. And a third to put the icing on the cake. Paragin down, 1 more to get through, and Xavier with their last hope.
And
they open up. The auto shotty's there, and the high ground heroes will take it home.
Woo! D plus Kia had to win that one, and like I said, we wanted to see double-digit eliminations and a chicken dinner, and they did exactly that.
That's what you need to do. Biding their time. We were a little bit worried, right?
Yeah.
They picked up the pace when it mattered. And this team from Korea going to be very happy with this opener. But there are plenty of other teams as well who've had a bit of a banger, right? Xavier, they had a lot of eliminations, right? 4NV, 13 points on the match.
Yeah, especially considering how 4MV got those eliminations. They were straight grunting their whole way through it, and they were able to get it done there. So a beautiful match number 1. And I like the fact that D plus Kia did send it down that hill. They didn't wait for that fight to happen and then get the guaranteed chicken dinner like I had mentioned. I thought that's what we were going to do. Instead, they say, no, we need these eliminations. Let's go down and get every single